Hello friends, my name is Dr. Subodh and this is my YouTube channel Learn from Psychiatrist. I hope you are doing great and learning something new out of my videos. So today I'm back with a brand new topic, that is anxiety. Now I don't need to tell much about anxiety because I think this is a very frequent term used in our daily life. And there are some other terms we use to describe anxiety. Can you guess some? Yes, nervousness. People say that I'm feeling nervous or I'm feeling anxious. Is there any other term you can think of? Yes, worry. So people would say like, I'm worrying too much or I'm worrying what's going to happen. So yes, these terms are frequently used to describe anxiety, anxiousness, nervousness or worrying. So are they just simple terms used to describe what we are feeling, or they actually mean something related to our mental state? So this is something we are going to learn today in our topic, anxiety. So let's start. So what is anxiety? Well, I haven't taken this definition from any book. This is what I understand about anxiety, and I'm going to tell you in the same manner. Okay, so anxiety is a state of mind in which a person doubts his ability to deal with the situation and certainty of its outcome. So, first of all, it's a state of mind. It's just not a thought, emotion, or behavior. It's a complete state of mind when we feel anxious, and in that state, as a person, we can doubt our ability to deal with situation, or we are not certain what's going to happen or what's the outcome of the situation. For example, now I'm doing this video. Maybe I'm doubting myself whether I will be to create a very good impression, a very good source of learning, and maybe I can doubt what's going to happen. Are you going to learn something out of this video? So probably I am feeling anxious about it, and that's a normal feeling. Psychologically, it reflects the significance of the event or situation in our development. Now people, they get anxious in different or particular situation, and that situation is particularly linked to their development. For example, if somebody is having generalized anxiety, like who's worrying about almost everything in their life, probably they have faced situation, the outcome was not very good for them. Probably they have faced a lot of adverse event with negative outcome. That's why they become anxious and they doubt outcome of every possible situation. So anxiety or the situation in which we feel anxious signifies or symbolize a very important part of our development psychologically. So what is anxiety? Is it just a normal feeling or is it a disorder of mind? Let's have a look. Now, anxiety is a normal feeling and can be explained rationally. For example, tomorrow Croatia is going to play World Cup final, and I think this is their very first World Cup final. So if they are doubting the outcome, which I don't want them to do, but if they are doubting what's going to happen, are they going to win or they're going to lose, so probably they're going to feel anxious, and I think that's a normal feeling to do. And a lot of fans, all over the world, they're gonna be worried, or they're gonna think what's gonna happen in the final. So a lot of people gonna feel anxious tomorrow, and that's an absolutely normal feeling to happen. But sometimes it can become pathological. When? Well, it is not gone by the common logic. Now what's the common logic? Common logic is something which can be accepted by a lot of people and make sense. For example, if I'm going to swim against Michael Phelps, who's the greatest Olympian in the history of world, probably he is. I can doubt, like I'm not gonna win, and I think that's a normal thing to feel. But if I'm swimming against 10 people and I have never met him, never known them, and I'm thinking, no, I'm gonna come last, so that is not the common logic. So this is something which makes our anxiety pathological. If it is out of proportion estimation of self or situation, when we doubt ourselves and we underestimate ourselves, and that is extreme, probably it will give rise to a pathological anxiety. For example, if I'm going to take a lecture and I'm going to underestimate myself, that no, I cannot teach properly, I cannot communicate my ideas effectively, I can never do that. So probably it's over underestimation of myself, and this can give rise to pathological anxiety. If I'm doubting the situation, if I'm thinking the complexity of situation is really high. For example, like I said, if I'm going to deliver a lecture and I'm thinking No, this is a really tough thing to do. I can never do that. Students are never going to like me. They are never going to listen to me, or they're going to dislike me. So probably it's overestimation of the situation, and it can also lead to an anxiety which is pathological or not normal. When uncertainty becomes the worst outcome, like I said, when we doubt the situation and we are not sure of the future, what's going to happen, but if we doubt, probably there a positive outcome, there's a negative outcome. But if we're gonna think about only negative outcome, only negative is gonna happen, we doubt situation in a very negative manner, then probably it's gonna give rise to a pathological anxiety or a disorder of our mental state. Finally, two things. If it is restricting, if your anxiety does not allow you to attend some situation, for example, if somebody is having social phobia and he's avoiding social situation, it's restricting for that person that he cannot be in social situation like party or classroom. So it's restricting that person to attend a particular situation. In that case, it will become a disorder. And finally, if it's disable you, for example, just because of your anxiety, you are not able to give your 100%, or it affects the way you feel about yourself, the way you work, the way you behave, I think that will be a pathological anxiety or disorder functioning of the mind. So, coming to the components of anxiety, what are the essential components of anxiety? Well, like I told you earlier, that anxiety is a state of mind. It's just not an emotion, a behavior, or thought. It's probably a complex thing and bit of everything. So, it's almost difficult to draw a distinction between thought, emotion, and anxiety. And like I told you earlier, that mind is how we feel, how we think, and how we behave in particular situations. So, therefore, anxiety is how we think, feel, and behave in a particular situation when we doubt our ability to deal with it. So, anxiety is emotion, anxiety is a thought, and anxiety is a behavior. Thought, emotions, and behavior are essential components of anxiety, so you cannot draw a distinction between them. Now, coming to the symptoms of anxiety, what are the symptoms of anxiety? Well, to understand that, we can again break it into different component. Now, coming to the thought, what happens to our thought when we feel anxious? Well, we can underestimate ourselves, we can overestimate the situation, we can expect the worst outcome, or there might be absence of thought. Our mind could freeze and we cannot think of anything. So this is how we think in anxiety. Now, what happens to our emotions? Well, we can have a feeling of fear, or we can have uncertain feeling. We are not clear that what are we feeling, how we feel in that situation, or maybe there are total absence of emotions, like we can describe that we are not feeling anything at all. Physiological symptoms of anxiety, well, it's a very important thing because this is how we experience anxiety in our behavior. We can feel that our heart rate is increasing, our heart is pounding, or commonly we call it palpitation. Our body can shake, we can have tremors, and sometimes we can feel that our head is getting lightheaded or we are feeling dizzy. Some people also have some tummy upset. For example, they can feel some butterfly, they can feel sick, nausea, vomiting, and sometimes they can feel urge to pass stools, or they can actually pass some loose stools or diarrhea. It can lead to bladder upset, so you can feel urgency or frequency of micturition or desire to pass urine. Then in your body you can have some tingling sensation, or probably pins and needles, if it's the right word to describe it. Finally, if it's about your breathing, probably you feel that you're short of breath, you're gasping, or you cannot breathe at all. And yes, it can lead to a lot of sweating in your body. So there are a lot of physiological components or symptoms of anxiety. It is not always necessary to have every possible symptom of anxiety in a particular person or situation. Some will have probably just lightheadedness or nausea, vomiting. Some will have complete symptoms of anxiety, including heart rate, fast heart rate, or palpitation, or shortness of breath. So it depends upon person to person, his adaptation to the particular situation, and how he is thinking or feeling in that particular situation. Finally, what kind of behavior do we have in anxiety? Well, I can describe only two types today. One is avoidance, that you're gonna avoid that situation. For example, somebody is having social anxiety, they're not gonna go into any social situation. So this is avoidance. Second is escape. If somehow a person has entered into a situation where he feels anxious, probably he gonna escape from that situation. So either we're gonna avoid the situation which makes us anxious, or we're gonna escape from that situation. Now, coming to the chronology of events, what happens in anxiety? Well, it's not absolute demarcation, it's not the absolute chronology, but it's the simplest way I can help you understand what happens in anxiety. So first, there's a situation which makes us anxious, and it is perceived by our mind or our brain. And then what happens? We have thoughts. We have thoughts about ourselves. We have thought about situation, and there is a flow of emotions. Now there can be different type of emotion, like I have told you earlier, and then it's gonna lead to physiological changes in our body. For example, palpitations, sweating, or maybe gasping for breath, shakiness. A lot of symptoms can happen. And finally, there's behavior or the outcome. Probably we can avoid the situation or we can escape from the situation. So, what are different types of anxiety disorders? There can be a lot of different anxiety disorders, but I'm going to talk about the most common, the most frequently seen in our clinical practice. So, the first is panic disorder. Panic disorder is a discrete episode of anxiety, intense anxiety, where people feel that there is an impending doom, or probably they're going to die, or they expect a very worst outcome. It's an episodic anxiety. So only during that episode people are going to feel anxious, but apart from that episode they are well, they are relaxed, but sometimes they can worry that the next panic attack is going to happen. Agoraphobia, again, is a very frequent situation when people feel that if there's any difficult thing, the escape is going to be difficult. Phobias, there can be different type of phobias. Phobia generally is like a fear of particular thing. I'm going to talk about phobia in a different video, different topic, because it's just a really good thing to discuss. But in a phobia, we have a fear of particular situation and we instantly escape or we instantly avoid that situation. It could be like phobia from, some people have phobia from cats, some people have phobias of heights called acrophobia, some people are phobic of closed confined space called claustrophobia. Social anxiety disorder. Well, I think it's one of the most disabling anxiety disorder. When people they feel nervous in social situation, they think that they underestimate themselves, and they think that people are going to judge them negatively, so they eventually avoid social situations. Finally, generalized anxiety disorder. In this disorder, the anxiety is throughout their day, throughout their night, throughout their life actually. They feel anxious about everything. They doubt the outcome of every possible situation in their life. And this anxiety is 24/7. They don't have a break from their anxiety. And it's also very disabling, and it can affect just not the person, but the people around them, because they sometimes they are not able to cope up with the anxious behavior of that person. So we have covered a lot of things today. I don't want you to overload with a lot of sensory information, otherwise it will be difficult to retain everything. So if you have learned something, if you think that this video was important for you, just like my video, subscribe and follow my YouTube channel to stay updated and learn a lot of new things about mental health and psychiatry. If you have any question, or if you wanna give feedback, just do comment and raise your queries, or request any new topic. I'll be more than happy to do new topics or new videos. So this is all for today. I'm gonna see you in my next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.